And here we are at the start of the 2044-45 season with your Ottawa Senators. And we're still in the middle of our rebuild, but things are looking much brighter here in Ottawa with our most recent first overall pick in Matthias Sorella. Of course, he is going to take a while to get better because he's only a half-star ability, but he is the 5-star potential. I'm hoping that within the next few years or so, that he will be ready to go, and hopefully not only ready to go, but also dominating the NHL at that point. We also have the likes of Juhani Mielanen, who is hopefully coming up soon. He's a 2-star ability already, but his defensive category is a bit weak, so that's why I left him in Helsinki for the time being. There's also Victor Jansson with the 4-star potential, 1-star current ability. He's going to stay there in Sweden for a little bit, but that's just in the system. We also have, of course, Matt Marple on our roster, 22 years of age, 4-star ability. Ashley Sanderson, 20 years of age, 3.5-star ability, 4-star potential. Inna Bickler, who we just traded for at the end of the last one, he's a 3-star ability. You got Finn Steiner, who's 21, 3-star ability, 4-star potential. Tanner Schinkel, who is 21. He had a great season last year, much better than I thought he would. 53 points in 71 games played. 3-star ability, 3-star potential. Then you have Dalton Tobias, 19. Colin Standing, who's 20, who's a 2.5-star ability, 3.5-star potential. So the youth movement here in Ottawa is definitely real. I mean, obviously, we still have some veterans on the team, such as Roussel, Norman, Kuzniakov, Giroux, Sidok, but you gotta have a few of them to, help the kids along. But no longer is half our roster 30 or over. That's the point. And then, of course, also with our replenished prospect pool, the rebuild is definitely coming along. As for how close we are to contending, I can't really say for sure yet partially because we have a new head coach in Francis Anzalone. So I want to see how our guys simulate with him. And also the fact that some of our most important prospects, Sorella, Mielanen, Jansson, we don't know exactly what they're going to be yet. So I can't put an exact timetable on it. I'm hoping that it won't take any longer than 2 or 3 more years. So with that, I think we will go through the preseason. All right, so we made it past the preseason. We are on the first day of the regular season now with our first game against the Florida Panthers. And of course, our roster is set, so let's take a look at it. You have Manning and Norman in goal. On defense, you have Sidok, Westerland, Inna Bickler, Altonen, Michenko, Coates, and Turnbull. And at forward, you have Marple, Werner, Sanderson, Steiner, Kuzniakov, Tobias, Carrier, Schinkel, Standing, Dion, Ilovikov, Giroux, Coughlin, and Merrifield. And once again, our new head coach is Francis Anzalone. And obviously, this is yet another growth year for this team. So if we don't make the playoffs, then it's no big deal. But I would like him to really help guys such as Marple and Sanderson reach their potential. And for Marple, that's a 5-star. I think he could get there because considering what he did last season, 68 points in 78 games, Marple really cooled off toward the end of last season. So a large chunk of those 68 points were actually from the first half of the season. So I'm hoping that Marple can be a bit more consistent this year, and if he can be, then he'll easily be our first-line center. I would like to see Sanderson build on last year. He had 35 points in 76 games played. Not bad for a rookie season, but I would like to see him I'd be happy with around 50 points. I think he could get there, especially if he gets second-line time this year, which it looks like he will. Here's our depth chart, just for reference. It looks like Mielanen, he's having a great season so far over there in Finland. 9 points in 10 games played so far. He had 39 in total last year, and that's already impressive, but if he keeps up at this pace, he'll certainly have himself a career year over there. Who else is having himself a good season so far is the first overall pick, Matthias Sorella. He, in 13 games played so far, has 8 points and a 66 grade, so if he keeps that up, we might be looking at a pretty good growth year for him, and that's obviously going to be huge considering he only has a half-star ability currently and the 5-star potential. So I really would prefer that he get as close to that 5-star potential as he can, because to make it from 0.5 all the way to 5, it's not impossible for sure, but he needs to have some really good seasons here to boost his current ability. And with all that being said, let's get the regular season underway. Oof, are you kidding me? Kelly Carrier with a fractured eye socket. Some of the injuries in this game are just absolutely wow. 4 months. Okay, so that it's not the entire season, but good chunk of it. Like he's gone until probably mid-March, if I had to guess. Well, there's the first career suspension for Tanner Schinkel. And you know what? He's doing really well so far this year. 19 points in 21 games played. So it's unfortunate he has to sit for a little bit, but when you're a fairly dirty player like he is, I suppose that'll happen. As we see, Schinkel and sportsmanship will never be mentioned in the same sentence except for that one. He's an agitator, to say the least. Yeah, His agitator rating's at 15. I mean, power forward is his best position at 16, but agitator's right there at 15. So, yeah, that would explain the suspensions. So I would imagine we should be expecting quite a few of those over the years. So we're on December 1st. We are 10, 11, and 1. Somehow in 4th. Our division is just so weak. Like, look at Florida, 10, 12, and 2 in 3rd with 22 points. Our division is by far the weakest when it comes to just overall team wins. We have 21 points in 4th, right? So 21 points in the Metro will get you 6th. 21 points in the Central will get you 5th. Well, tied for 4th, I guess, with Chicago. And then 21 points in the Pacific will get you 6th. Quick look at the team stats. Goals for per game, we're up there with a 3.27, 13th in the league. Goals against per game, we are 3rd last in the league with the 3.64. Yeah, looks like Mr. Alan Manning has not been having a good time there. Power play is actually 2nd in the league with a 29.1. Penalty kill, unfortunately, 74.6. Yeah, defense needs some work. Let's see player stats. So Marple with 20 points in 22 games. Schinkel, as we saw, with 19 points in 21 games. Of course, now he's suspended for a few, but as I said, that's just something we need to get used to with him, I suppose. Tobias and Sidok with 16, so Sidok having a good season so far. He had 17 points all of last season, although do keep in mind he did get a fairly big injury. I believe it lasted about 4 months, but still on a much better pace. He's on pace for what he had the season before we came here with 59 points in 82 games, so hopefully he gets there. Then you have Werner with 14, Merrifield with 13, Sanderson with 12, Kuzniakov with 11, 10 for Standing and Westerland, 8 for Coates, 7 for Coughlin, 6 for Giroux, 4 for Steiner, Dion, and Yelovikov, and Altonen. Then you have 3 for Turnbull and Machenko. And in goal, Norman has played 10 games and has a .913 save percentage, and unfortunately, Alan Manning in 14 games has an .895. It's better than when the season started when he had an .861 after 1 month, but still not ideal. So he's been better, but still obviously need him to be even better. So as I said earlier, this is not one of those seasons where, I feel pressured to make the playoffs with this team, so I'm not going to be making any trades that I don't think would benefit us for the future. I mean, I'll check the trade block every now and then, but generally, most teams don't put the kinds of players that I'm looking for on their trade blocks. And so with that, I think we're going to advance probably up to the trade deadline. All right, so we're a day before the trade deadline here, and we're 30, 23, and 3. This is certainly the closest we have been to the playoffs so far here in Ottawa, and we're in the middle of a rebuild, I think. I was taking a look around the trade block, and nothing that really catches my eye, at least nothing that I would feel comfortable trading for at a time like this, where we're supposed to be rebuilders, but we're making a playoff push. So, I figure we may as well just see what this team can do, Because we're not at a point yet where I would feel comfortable trading our prospects away for veterans, or any of our young guys for that matter. But given our league standing currently, I'm not going to just throw the season away, So I'm not going to go trading away any of our veterans, such as Kuzniakov, Giroux, Sidok, or Merrifield. This roster has already taken us this far, so why not, Take a brief look at the stats before we move on. Marple with 56 points in 56 games played. Tobias with 52 points in 56 games played, having a huge sophomore season. Tanner Schinkel with 45 points in 50 games played. He's on track for a career year. I mean, he had 53 points in total last year. It wouldn't surprise me if he hits 70. He has been very much a surprise, but a very welcome one. Sidok with 44. Sanderson with 41 has already broken his point total from last season. Innebickler with 32 points in 48 games played. What a trade that was to the Vegas Golden Knights. And remember, he never even played for Vegas. He hasn't played in the NHL at all yet up until this season. And he comes in here as a 24-year-old rookie and impresses. He is currently second on our defensive core in points. So that was a key trade right there. Kuzniakov and Westerland with 31 points, 30 for Standing. Good rookie season for him so far. 26 for Merrifield and Steiner. Werner with 24, 23 for Giroux and Coates. 22 for Coughlin. Yelovikov with 20. 19 for Altonen, 17 for Dion. 7 for Machenko, 6 for Turnbull, and then in goal, you have a .902 save percentage for Alan Manning, so that's gotten better, I believe, from when I last checked. Unfortunately, the beginning of the season did hurt him quite a bit as far as his goals saved above average. He's at a negative 10.75 currently, but he's been consistent enough throughout his career so far that I still trust him. Besides, he's on a real cheap contract, so even if his play does tank, I think it would be worth it to hold on to him just to see if he can recover, you know? And it's not like we're hurting for salary right now anyway. Team stats, goals for per game, we are up there at a 3.68, third in the league. And unfortunately, goals against per game has not gotten any better. We're currently last in the league for that with a 3.63. So we can score, but we do get scored on quite a bit as well. Faceoffs, we're middle of the league with a 50.2. Power play, first in the league with a 29.4. So offense is definitely clicking. Penalty kill, middle of the pack with an 80 flat. I suppose if anyone, I could trade Giroux for maybe a more defensive-minded forward, but considering how much we're scoring, we may as well just see what happens. I mean, we're obviously going to get scored on. There's no doubt about that. But it's also possible that we could just roll right through the playoffs with the kind of goal scoring we have, though. So let's just see what happens. Oh, and it's also worth noting, from January 22nd all the way up until February 18th, we went on a 9-game winning streak. So I have a feeling that's what catapulted us into third. Anyway, let's just simulate the rest of the season, see what happens, and hopefully we'll be able to witness Ottawa Senators playoff hockey for the first time in this franchise mode. So after a 4-month-long injury, Kelly Carrier is finally back. So I believe that means for the first time in quite a while, we are completely healthy. All right, so we've reached the end of the regular season of the 2044-45 season, and we're in the playoffs. Third divisional spot. In a year where I didn't think we would be a good team. I thought we would be in another lottery contention spot, but no, here we are. We are in the playoffs for the first time with these Ottawa Senators, and it was honestly a surprise because, like I said, I was not expecting this team to be competitive for another 2 or 3 years. I mean, just wow, what a season this was. I mean, it wasn't the greatest by any stretch, but you know, it was for sure a surprise. So as we take a look at the team stats, goals for per game, 3.45. Wish the goals against was better, obviously. We were at a 3.43, so that has definitely gotten better since we last checked, but it obviously needs to be even better. So there's still plenty of areas where we can improve, obviously, but just getting to the playoffs is a success in its own for this team. Power play was at a 25.5, fourth in the league, and the penalty kill, oh wow, that improved drastically. 82.1. We're now 10th in the league for the penalty kills, so yeah, we were 80 flat last time. Yeah, now we're in the top 10. It's a good improvement, especially for a team that's so not good defensively. Like that's an odd one. Like we're good at the penalty kill, but just not good at keeping the puck out of the net 5-on-5, I suppose. So in goal, you have Norman with a .901 save percentage in 19 games, and Manning in 71 games played. We continue to overwork him in the .910 save percentage. So hey, compared to where that was earlier on in the season, that's like he's basically back to where he was last season with the .915 save percentage, and then the season before that with a .916. And his goals saved above average was in the negatives before, was at a negative 10 point something. Now it's a 1.12. At least the second half of this season was probably equivalent to what he did last season and the season before. So it was definitely the right call holding on to Alan Manning. Like he's our guy for sure. I mean, he plays a lot. Look at that. 66 games played his first season, 77, 76, 71 games played. I mean, I'm getting nervous that he's going to, have like a huge injury at some point, but he's been good so far. So, I mean, we'll keep playing him, but he is definitely racking up the games played there early on in his career. I mean, he already has almost he's only 4 seasons into his career. He already has almost 300 games played as a goalie. He only had 1 shutout this year, so that's not really a surprise given how much we struggled defensively. But still, overall, very good performance out of him this season. Obviously, he did have a few stretches of really not good play, but he redeemed himself for sure. On defense, you have Sidok with 54 points, Westerlund with 45, Inabickler with 38, so we slowed down there towards the end. Coates with 30, 22 for Aaltonen, 11 for Machenko, and 10 for Turnbull. Forwards, you have Matt Marple with a career year, 81 points in 82 games played, almost a point per game player. 71 points for Tanner Schinkel. He has been by far the biggest surprise of this GM mode, I think, of at least of the Ottawa Senators portion, because I was really down on him. Like I didn't think he would make our NHL roster for another year or so, just based off how average most of his ratings were. But not only did he step into our NHL roster last year, he made an immediate impact last year. 53 points in 71 games played. Now this year, in 76 games played, 71 points. He's been a huge surprise. It wouldn't, and you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if he's a key player during the playoffs. Because, I mean, when you look at his ratings, he looks like he should be average, you know? Like, just an average third or fourth line grinder. But no, he has been a mainstay. Not only in the top 6, but on the first line with Matt Marple. So, gotta hand it to him. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Dalton Tobias in his second season with 67 points. Last season, he only had 17. So, that is a drastic improvement. Then you have Ashley Sanderson with 56. That is right around where I wanted him to be. He had 35 last year, 56 this year. Good improvement for him. Kuzniakov, the captain, with 41. Then you have Standing with 39. Good rookie season for him. Finn Steiner with 38. So a bit of a step back from last year, but that's okay. If he only ends up being a 40-point scorer, then obviously that wouldn't be ideal since, you know, he's got the 4.5-star potential. But we do have, it appears, other guys stepping up to the role that I thought Steiner would fill in Tobias and Schinkel. So hopefully these two can stay consistent. And it looks like Schinkel will. Pavel Werner with 38 points in 56 games played. Spent a good portion of the season injured. Merrifield with 35 points, 31 for Coughlin, 30 for Giroux, 27 for Yolovikov, 20 for Dion, and 10 for Carrier in 25 games played. Oh boy, and our first opponent in these playoffs will be the Tampa Bay Lightning. They are 44, 31, and 7. Almost the same record as us, but they do have a few more points on the season. Anyway, should be an interesting one, and so for the best.